A stun grenade exploded and shattering his forearms and leaving him dependent on others. However, the chief inspector exudes confidence, stating that after his full recovery, he will be back to serve Kenyans after acquiring prosthetic hands, that is to aid his day-to-day activities. Our own Lennox Sengre brings you this exclusive story.
Oh my God.
It has been 3 harrowing months since that bizarre day in Nairobi CBD. Chief Inspector David Maina, a decorated officer of the Rapid Deployment Unit, found himself in the middle of chaos. What was supposed to be a routine crowd control operation during a fiery protest against the 2024 finance bill turned into a living hell. Maina, forced to act, pulled out a stun grenade, ready to disperse the furious crowd. But then, disaster struck. He held on too long. A deafening explosion tore through the air, ripping his forearms clean off. In an instant, his world went dark.
I removed the pin, but there was, I don't know, there was some resistance. That pin, there was some problem with removing the pin. When it finally got off, and then I was just about to throw my stun grenade, I just saw darkness. So I really don't understand what happened, because this is something that I've used, I've gone through them in training. So what really happened is something I can't explain whether. But to me, I'm just referring it to an accident. The news was shocking. Everybody got shocked. That is from the family members, my workmates. They even those who know me, my schoolmates, my former schoolmates, my former training mates, and they came to the hospital. In fact, there was a time that they were only allowed to see me. I think it was 1 minute per each individual, because there was a lot of people who came to see me. They were really shocked, but when they came, and I really explained to them, and I had gone through some counseling, and I was really accepting the new normal. Now I'm somehow dependent. I'm not able to do some of, I know there's some whatever, but given time, I know they will get on well.
The respected officer known for his bravery was left a broken man. In a moment of confusion and horror, the grenade that was supposed to control the crowd shattered his body instead.
Nilikuwa nimebleed sana. Na waliweza kuniweka damu, kunishughulikia haraka sana. And were it not for them, things could have been different. I think with the professional doctors of all kinds, I've met psychiatrists, psychologists, orthopedic surgeons, all of all kinds. Na wameweza kuniadvise kwa kila mahali, na nimeweza kufuatilia mawaidha yao. When I mention the caregiver, I'm saying my wife. We have been with my wife in all this journey. I thank her for this. Amekuwa na mimi since the first day kati nilipata hii accident, na amekuwa akinishughulikia. Matibabu bado naendelea nayo. I'm still on that recovery process. The wound are healing, and I'm following the doctor's advice, and still up to now, they've not yet put on those gadgets to assist. And the doctor has informed me that these are going to be put after I'm fully recovered.
The day was drenched in rage, but was Maina grenade meant to kill? Questions swirl on the aftermath.
But it was not meant to kill or to hurt anyone. It was meant to produce just a loud sound for the crowd to disperse. We ignore some of this criticism because some of them are from people who are ignorant on what is going on or what really happened. So, to me, the critic or the criticism, I have just to ignore them because there are so many. I have gone through some of them in the social media. Maybe good, they are insults, whatever. There are some others who knows and they really sympathize with me on really what happened. And so if someone gets to know the truth of what really happened that day or what we were doing, I think he can understand more and give a better version of the criticism rather than that generalization and insults. Yeah.
David Maina, once a fierce protector of order, now faces a long road of recovery. Yet amid the horror, he tries to cling to the moments of clarity. This was not his first time using a stun grenade. He recalls using it before, even during a heated football match.
I've used so many stun grenades, a lot of them. In fact, because I've seen this on the social media and on the media, and even I've seen it on other sites like YouTube. You can remember the football game that was played 4 months ago. I think it was on that was on May, or I think it was on May or April there, and the Gor Mahia were playing with AFC Leopard. And when the game ended, there was some commotion. And I threw one stun grenade that produced a very big sound, and it assisted me actually to disperse the whole crowd. Remember that was in Nyayo football ground, and the crowd, the field was full to capacity, and the crowd was able to disperse with no question. So these are things that I've used professionally. It was just an accident that happened on that particular day.
But was it just a bad day at work, or was there a fault in the device? Maina's boss, RDU Commandant Shamala, has come to his defense.
We have really trained our people to curb and or protect our government of our nation from getting into messes. And the RDU being one of the units, which is a specialized unit for public order management. We have our men trained to better heights.
From the time that I was injured, our officers tuliweza kuingia kwa gari na wakanileta mpaka kwa hospitali, na wakakuja wakadonate damu, wakaanza kuniangalia, kuniombea kila kitu. The whole NPS structure kutoka huko juu, the former DIG of APS, Nur Gabo, was there. The current acting IG, Afade Masangeli, personally came to see me in the hospital, and many others. In fact, if I were to start mentioning them here, we can be here the whole day. So walikuja kunipea support, moral support. In fact, even the financial support have been given him, even money to support my medication journey. Everything. Kila kitu nikitaka. Logistic, kama ni magari, if my family want vehicles, kama ni kutafuta, because I've been even forced to change my school, my kids to school, the departments, Wao ndio wamesaidia kunitafutia hata hiyo shule. Remember this third term inakuwaga na shida ya transfers, but I was able to get one of the best school to take my kids. Nishukuru mkubwa wangu Afande Agrim Shamala, Commissioner of Police, mwenye tuko na hapa kama Alela Commandant. Tumekuwa na yeye na ni mtu ananielewa sana, hata yeye amepitia challenges mingi. So nataka kumshukuru kwa sababu ameweza kuni-encourage na kufanya mambo yangu ikuwe rahisi.
While Maina battles to rebuild his life, the promises made to him hang in the air. Even the 1 million Kenya shillings pledged by the then CS for Tourism, Alfred Mutua, remains a hot air.
Well, we have been in contact with CS Mutua. He came to visit me in the hospital. He also, when I was in the hospital, he also sent some of his people to come and see me. We have been in communication even up to now, and I know he has even asked me to send my bank account, and I know in due course he'll actually fulfill what he pledged.
As the dust settles and Maina's story becomes legend, the wounds, both physical and emotional, remains fresh. Will he continue getting the support he deserves, or will he remain in the shadows of this harrowing ordeal of the ghost in the canister? This is the exact spot where Chief Inspector David Maina lost both of his hands during the Gen Z protest, leaving him to embrace the new normal. Lennox Sengre, TV47, Nairobi.
Isn't that a beautiful piece? A piece of hope. Lennox Sengre manages to get a hold of course, the cop and the security boss that is in relation to that ordeal. And indeed, it is a beautiful thing to see that, well, he's ready to face it as should be. And so as we move from that, we still have lots, of course, in the world of news, including sports. But allow me to introduce the guests tonight. We begin with ladies first, men before, ladies first. Ladies first. Let us stick to the rules and appreciate the presence of Robina Anene. Robina Anene is a reproductive health coordinator, Nairobi City County. We need to talk about contraceptives, and especially in the county. Just how good are we taking it?
Thank you for allowing us time to come and share a moment, and especially during this week where we have been celebrating the World Contraceptive Day, and appreciation to TV47 because you've given us a platform to be able to engage with people far and wide. And for this year, our theme was contraceptive choices. The power is in my hands. And so again, that speaks to empowering women and our communities to be able to take responsibility of their own health through making informed decisions around contraception.
So we have overcome the myths and misconceptions and the fears.
We are on our way to overcome.
We'll be coming back to that. Innocent in Danger, as well as the other guest. He's the Adolescents and Youth Coordinator, Reproductive Health Network right here in the country. What do you make of the strides that we have made in terms of, you know, the uptake of contraceptives?
I want to say the government has really done quite well, and this has been working hand in hand with the private sector, working hand in hand with the civil society organizations, and this unity has brought about the aspect of just supporting women and girls and men and boys even those from the hard-to-reach areas where probably maybe several CSOs might not be able to reach, the government is able to reach there.
Right.
Where the government is not able to reach, the CSOs are able to reach there. And I would want to say the steps that have been made, if you look at the data right now, it's quite impressive, and we're looking forward to a world where each and every woman, the way Robina said it, is able to make the right decision and able to enjoy their choice.
But where are the men in this conversation?
I'm here. I am here.
Women who are making decisions when it comes to contraceptives. I mean, even the men should take up the challenge. I mean, that's basically what we have been talking about. And stats show that at least there's been an advancement on that corner. We'll be getting into that very important conversation. I mean, keep the questions coming, and the guests here will ably get to answer them, especially when we're talking about modern day technology on the question of contraceptive. Should we take a break first and then come back to that? All right, we take a quick short break and then we come back to that and more on sports.
June 2024, nationwide protests broke out in Kenya, opposing the 2024 finance bill. As the situation threatened to get out of hand, police officers were deployed to quell the unrest. Among them, Chief Inspector David Maina. Then hell broke loose. An explosive device went off, ripping off his forearms. He survives to tell the story.
I removed the pin, but there was, I don't know, there was some resistance. That pin, there was some problem when removing the pin. When it finally got off, and then I was just about to throw my stun grenade, I just saw darkness.
Join TV47's Lennox Sengre as he brings you an exclusive interview with Chief Inspector David Maina.
Hey there friends, welcome to Kids on the Block, where fun and imagination come alive. We dive into magical world filled with exciting adventures and awesome friends.
What position were you in?
I was number 2.
What position were you?
Number 1.
He decided to cross the bridge by his house and look for food on the other side.
We're going to do half cup of chocolate chips, and the other one, we're going to do half cup of the blueberries.
So, grab your imagination hats and get ready to explore with us. Join us every Saturday at 9 a.m. for new friends, amazing stories, and tons of laughter.
Join us as we explore the journeys of those who defy the odds and break barriers. We dive deep into the stories of triumph.
Sometimes when parenting a child with a special need or whatever disability, family life becomes a bit complicated and you may end up raising the child on your own.
Here, we inspire.
I have a farm which one we showcase with other dyslexic youths and autism, how to farm.
Motivate.
It's never easy, but what we do, the best thing is to work with another parent who has an elder child than yours.
And break through the barriers one story at a time. Push your boundaries beyond the limit. Saturdays at 8 p.m. The Grind, where business meets brilliance. It's not just about the ideas.
I was working as a shampoo boy. I used to wash clients' hair on the sink.
It's about making them happen. From big wins.
In primary school, when we would be asked what people want to be, I was categorical that I want to be a nurse.
To hard lessons.
The consoles change, the gaming equipment keep changing.
We cover it all. Tune in to The Grind, where every episode is packed with insights.
The person who is serving customers, always be a customer-centric.
Strategies.
When you pay attention to detail, you get luxury items.
And stories to fuel your ambition. Don't just dream it, grind it. Mondays at 7:30 p.m.
Jiunge nasi tunapoangazia safari za viongozi bora. Kutoka kwa ushindi mkubwa hadi masomo magumu.
Wakati wetu kwamba wasichana si wa kusoma, ni wa kuolewa, ng'ombe ipatikane, wazazi wakuwe watajiri.
Tunashughulikia yote.
I wish I were a better investor.
My parents taught me how to look for things for myself.
Tazama Mfahamu Kiongozi, ambapo kila kipindi kimejaa maarifa, mikakati na hadithi za kukuza azma yako.
For me to succeed, I have to fight.
Kila Alhamisi saa 1:30.
June 2024, nationwide protests broke out in Kenya, opposing the 2024 finance bill. As the situation threatened to get out of hand, police officers were deployed to quell the unrest. Among them, Chief Inspector David Maina. Then hell broke loose. An explosive device went off, ripping off his forearms. He survives to tell the story.
I removed the pin, but there was, I don't know, there was some resistance. That pin, there was some problem with removing the pin. When it finally got off, and then I was just about to throw my stun grenade, I just saw darkness.
Join TV47's Lennox Sengre as he brings you an exclusive interview with Chief Inspector David Maina.
Hey there friends, welcome to Kids on the Block, where fun and imagination come alive. We dive into magical world filled with exciting adventures and awesome friends.
What position were you in?
I was number 2.
What position were you?
Number 1.
He decided to cross the bridge by his house and look for food on the other side.
We're going to do half cup of chocolate chips, and the other one, we're going to do half cup of the blueberries.
So, grab your imagination hats and get ready to explore with us. Join us every Saturday at 9 a.m. for new friends, amazing stories, and tons of laughter.
Join us as we explore the journeys of those who defy the odds and break barriers. We dive deep into the stories of triumph.
Sometimes Sometimes when parenting a child with a special need or whatever disability, family life becomes a bit complicated and you may end up raising the child on your own.
Here, we inspire.
I have a farm which one we showcase with other dyslexic youths and autism how to farm.
Motivate.
It's never easy, but what we do, the best thing is to work with another parent who has an elder child than yours.
And break through the barriers one story at a time. Push your boundaries beyond the limit. Saturdays at 8 p.m. The Grind, where business meets brilliance. It's not just about the ideas.
I was working as a shampoo boy. I used to wash clients' hair on the sink.
It's about making them happen. From big wins.
In primary school, when we would be asked what people want to be, I was categorical that I want to be a nurse.
To hard lessons.
The consoles change, the gaming equipment keep changing.
We cover it all. Tune in to The Grind, where every episode is packed with insights.
The person who is serving customers, always be a customer-centric.
Strategies.
When you pay attention to detail, you get luxury items.
And stories to fuel your ambition. Don't just dream it, grind it. Mondays at 7:30 p.m.
Jiunge nasi tunapoangazia safari za viongozi bora. Kutoka kwa ushindi mkubwa hadi masomo magumu.
Wakati wetu kwamba wasichana si wa kusoma, ni wa kuolewa, ng'ombe ipatikane, wazazi wakuwe watajiri.
Tunashughulikia yote.
I wish I were a better investor.
My parents taught me how to look for things for myself.
Tazama Mfahamu Kiongozi, ambapo kila kipindi kimejaa maarifa, mikakati na hadithi za kukuza azma yako.
For me to succeed, I have to fight.
Kila Alhamisi saa 1:30.
June 2024, nationwide protests broke out in Kenya, opposing the 2024 finance bill. As the situation threatened to get out of hand, police officers were deployed to quell the unrest. Among them, Chief Inspector David Maina. Then hell broke loose. An explosive device went off, ripping off his forearms. He survives to tell the story.
I removed the pin, but there was, I don't know, there was some resistance. That pin, there was some problem with removing the pin. When it finally got off, and then I was just about to throw my stun grenade, I just saw darkness.
Join TV47's Lennox Sengre as he brings you an exclusive interview with Chief Inspector David Maina.
Hey there, friends. Welcome to Kids on the Block, where fun and imagination come alive. We dive into magical world filled with exciting adventures and awesome friends.
What position were you in?
I was number 2.
What position were you?
Number 1.
He decided to cross the bridge by his house and look for food on the other side.
You're going to do half cup of chocolate chips, and the other one, we're going to do half cup of the blueberries.
So, grab your imagination hats and get ready to explore with us. Join us every Saturday at 9 a.m. for new friends, amazing stories, and tons of laughter.
Doing in partnership with the CSOs, and just to see to it that they align with the international commitments and the international declarations. For instance, the Family Planning 2030 commitments, where Kenya committed to supporting 8 specific commitments. And the first one was to increase the uptake for modern contraceptives from 58 to 64% by 2030. And I would say right now we are doing quite very well. And I think Robina will speak to that.
Yes.
The numbers are doing very well. The demand is very good, although we are having disparities in supply, but I would say it's generally very good.
Let us assume that we're talking to an old person back then, and Grace, Robina is coming to you, even as you tell us where we stand at, as Nairobi County. Yes. That the oldies, based on tradition and culture and all that, would not understand why we are talking about uptick shooting up and appreciating that now that is doing well, as opposed to for it being, the vice versa. So when we're talking about the uptick, I mean, when we're talking about growth, why does it have to be pegged on the uptick, on the growth and of numbers of people who are actually taking family planning?
Thank you so much. A lot of investment has been done towards the uptake of family planning, both at the national and the counties levels. For instance, the community health promoters through the primary health care model, we have invested heavily from the grassroots through the community health promoters to be able to share contraception and family planning messages to the community, so that these communities are empowered, both women and men. We are now encouraging men to be involved in the care of their women, because it is a conversation that both of these gender need to have.
Speak to the people at the level of community who would say, you know what, once you get into marriage, it's the business of procreation. Speak to them. What are we talking about when we're talking about family planning?
We are talking about taking responsibility of your own health, because once you are able to take charge of your own space, what happens within your own system, and allowing your system to be able to allow you sanity of mind, to allow your body to heal once you have gotten pregnant and delivered a baby, or even had an abortion which was not planned. You are able to heal well and take time before you get the next pregnancy.
So it's not the misconception that it's about telling women, please do not get more babies.
No. Contraception only means that you are taking a break between the current pregnancy, if any, and planning to get the next pregnancy when you are ready, both financially, psychologically, physically, to be able to take care of the planned pregnancy. You are planning yourself to be able to cope with the pregnancy that you are planning to have.
How is Nairobi faring on?
Nairobi is doing well, because according to KDHS, we are at 2.6% total fertility rate, and the contraception prevalence rate is at about 56%. Our MCPR is actually at 77% compared to the national, which is at 76%. So the picture is not not any different. There's a positive trajectory towards improving uptake, access and affordability of contraception, family planning in Nairobi County.
All right, I am told, and you will confirm that indeed there's been a lot of progress in terms of current day contraception compared to what was there back then. Yes. One of the greatest fears that perhaps got women, saying that maybe we should not go that way of contraceptives or family planning and all that is because they most of them would complain of side effects and all that. When we're talking about modern day contraception or modern day contraceptives, just how advanced are they today to guarantee, the women out there and even the men, because we're going to get to that conversation, that indeed they are, taking arrangements that are safe for them?
Speaking about the modern day contraception, and this I think Robina will jump in more.
Yeah.
One of the critical things that have been looked at is the aspect of ensuring that the woman has got the right information. The healthcare provider has got the right information. So when the woman comes, or even the man comes to access that service, they are first of all given all the information about the contraception, all the pros and the cons about the contraception. So it's upon the woman or the man to decide which one I want to take. And at the same time also, with respect to the side effects, you'll realize that there are people who it will react to differently. For example, there's that person who will tell you, if I take an implant, I may grow fat. There's the other person who will not have those side effects. So people react differently, and before they take the contraception, they're always given all the information about that. And at times, even the doctor will go to the extent of trying to test and see which one is compatible with your body. And I think that helps very much to ensure that the woman or the man, the person who's coming for the service, gets the right service and does not regret that. And
so that means in the event that you are under certain contraceptive method, then you realize that you have some side effects. You're allowed to withdraw or perhaps drop it almost immediately and try a different one?
Absolutely.
Allow me to speak to that.
Yes.
Because one of the things that I want to assure Kenyans is that contraceptive methods are safe.
Exactly.
And so the myths and misconceptions that come along with the uptake of contraception, again, are allayed at all levels of care, starting from the community. And the healthcare providers in our facilities are empowered to be able to support our clients based on which side effect they present with in our facilities. And so we are assuring our clients that all contraceptive methods are safe. And before we allow you to take a method, we take you through counseling. And our approach now is not just on contraception, because when you're talking of sexual and reproductive health, it's not just about pregnancy. There are other things that come along, like HIV.
Right.
We add the component of HIV, we add the component of STI, and so we handle our clients holistically, not just focusing on contraception. And so again, we counsel you, eliminating the methods that may not be suitable for you based on how you present to us. And so we don't just provide methods, we take through the client on a journey to be able to pick the best method that they are eligible for. We have to be reasonably sure that you are not pregnant before we begin, we start you on a method. And so again, to your second concern, whereby if you are on a journey with a method and then at some point you get a side effect, our gates are always very open. Come back to the facilities, present your concern, and the healthcare provider within the facility will be able to support you.
Could this cut across? And I know we're talking about our country, but sometimes you find that there are people who are now getting into the contraceptive methods and they have an arrangement, and before you know it, perhaps they have to travel, and all that. Could they still find similar, contraceptives that, to what it is challenges that they have in these different countries? I mean, do we always get to compare what plays out in the country and the global stage?
Most of the products that arrive in Kenya are available in all the other, most of the global the countries across the world. So we can assure you that all these methods that are available here are also accessible in the other countries.
Okay.
Yes.
And we're talking about meats, and it's a good thing that you're dealing with youth and across, you know, at the country stage. We are talking about misconceptions, you know, fears as a big concern, and you know, that they to get to deter the progress and all that. How much more is the economic factor a deterrent to this process of getting the uptake to grow?
Looking at the aspect of the economic factor, I would say currently most of the contraceptives that are available are very affordable. They are very, very affordable.
Okay.
Just beginning the basic ones like the male and the female condoms, they're very affordable, they're very accessible. You can get them anywhere you want, even in supermarkets. We have others that have come on board, like we have now the Sayana Press. It's also very accessible.
Right.
And you realize that accessing these commodities, many a times, even at government facilities, you can get some of them at free of charge. Like the male condoms, you can get them free of charge.
Yeah.
And during when they're having maybe activities at the facilities, you can also get those services. So when it comes to the aspect of the economic aspect of it, it's quite affordable. Where the challenge comes in, I would say, is for those individuals who come from the hard-to-reach areas. So probably the problem this person will have is the distance to cover from their home to the facility.
Okay.
But accessing the commodities with the affordability, they are very affordable. The only maybe something that will just hinder them, probably the distance. But accessing them, I would say currently we are doing very well.
Okay.
And so what needs to come out loud again and clear is that in all government facilities, especially the basic facilities, level 2, level 3, and some level 4s, contraceptives and family planning methods are free.
Yeah.
That needs to be lauded. What is charged maybe in the private and faith-based is the service of offering the commodity, because some of them actually we support them with commodities. And so when we give you free, our expectation would be that you support the communities for free. The other approach towards access is postpartum family planning, post-pregnancy family planning. The women who have already had a pregnancy, for as long as we are sure that your uterus is empty, we are able to deliver the baby, deliver the placenta, and load you with a method. Immediately before you step down off the couch.
All right.
And that conversation again begins early. That conversation begins
must be told
early,
that this is
that these methods are available. We engage with your partner so that you are walking the journey. As you come to laborhood, you are already prepared on which method
you want to
take. So after we get your baby, we get the placenta out, we are able to support you with a method. The other way that we are ensuring access is that we are now engaging with the community pharmacies, optimizing pharmacy channels. And so we are training community pharmacies to be able to avail the Depo-Provera, both IM and subcutaneous. What he's calling Sayana Press. Sayana Press is a trade name, but the actual component is DMPA, subcutaneous, and IM. And so these commodities are now available even in the pharmacies, all the short-term methods. So we are also relying on them to be able to bring these commodities closer to the client.
And the biggest question then would be, is this availability a cause for concern? We'll be coming to that, and especially to you who deals with adolescents and youth. Are they again overusing these methods that are available, and perhaps maybe their business should be about fixing their future and all that? So allow us to take a short break, and then we come back to that on that very note.
June 2024, nationwide protests broke out in Kenya, opposing the 2024 finance bill. As the situation threatened to get out of hand, police officers were deployed to quell the unrest. Among them, Chief Inspector David Maina. Then hell broke loose. An explosive device went off, ripping off his forearms. He survives to tell the story.
I removed the pin, but there was, I don't know, there was some resistance. That pin, there was some problem when removing the pin. When it finally got off, and then I was just about to throw my stun grenade, I just saw darkness.
Join TV47's Lennox Sengre as he brings you an exclusive interview with Chief Inspector David Maina.
Hey there, friends. Welcome to Kids on the Block, where fun and imagination come alive. We dive into magical world filled with exciting adventures and awesome friends.
What position were you in?
I was number 2.
What position were you?
Number 1.
He decided to cross the bridge by his house and look for food on the other side.
You're going to do half cup of chocolate chips, and the other one, we're going to do half cup of the blueberries.
So, grab your imagination hats and get ready to explore with us. Join us every Saturday at 9 a.m. for new friends, amazing stories, and tons of laughter.
Welcome back to TV47 Weekend Edition. You're watching To The Point with me, Linda Alela, and the guests tonight, Innocent in Danger, as well as Robina Anene on the sign language interpreter's side, is Kevin Makori. And the conversation is about modern day contraception. It has been well articulated that we are faring on well as a country in terms of the uptake of contraceptives, and not just the uptake, but basically the knowledge behind that. But we still have concerns in relation to overuse and misuse, and especially when it comes to those ones that are considered to be young, you know, taking so much so of contraceptives and contraception. Perhaps, you know, like we say, it is a safe method, or most of the methods are safe, but then there's always that element of fear. Is it really proper for the kids to begin taking them at this early stage, as well as, you know, those ones that would consider themselves as medics, you know, the over-the-counter kind of processes and all that. What is happening in terms of regulations such that even when people want to engage, then they engage in the right manner and they are well educated on the methods that they are getting to?
Just listening to your question, it reminded me of a question we always ask ourselves, the question of consent.
Yeah.
When it comes to young people's access to contraceptives, especially adolescents, because constitutionally, for somebody to make their own decision, they're supposed to be 18 years and above. If you look at some of our legal frameworks, like the Reproductive Health Bill Policy 2022-2032, for an adolescent to access contraception, they're supposed to be accompanied by
an adult.
And that is probably the caregiver.
Okay.
That's the parent or any person who takes care of that adolescent. And we realize that we have emancipating adolescents. We have minor adolescents, probably adolescents who are staying alone. So these are young people these are adolescents who would want to access these services, and probably there's no one to give consent on their behalf. And then probably a parent will not want the adolescent to take contraception. I will go back to a community where our parents, no matter how old you grow, I know even Robina here, when she goes back home, her father will always see her as the child.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
So many a times you realize that our parents find it difficult acknowledging the fact that, unlike during their days, our days, I think adolescents in this era, the Gen Zs and the Gen Alphas, they are actually I would say they're maturing and they're getting exposed to information quite at a tender age. So I think it's important that we support them to access these services, and at the same time aligning with what the Constitution says, what the legal framework say. It's also very important. But just understanding and acknowledging the fact that the demand is very high, and trying to help these adolescents. For me, I was in a session this week, and one of the facilitators asked a question: do we need to tighten the laws when it comes to access to contraception, or do we need to concentrate on information? For me, my thinking is we need to concentrate on information, because if you give this adolescent the right information, the adolescent, before going for that emergency contraceptive, he or she will have understood that I'm supposed to, if it's sex, it's supposed to be safe sex. And if I'm not ready, then I have to wait. So if you give this young person the right information, you won't have to struggle putting up or setting up laws and policies that will have to make it tight for them to access, and make it tight for providers to give, because the providers, especially the private sector, at the chemist, the pharmacist, these are people making money, they're in business. So if this adolescent comes, and some of these adolescents, if you look at their physical appearance, they look like adults.
You will sell to them.
The provider will sell to them.
It is rather an uncomfortable conversation to have, and it's been there, you know, a scenario where even the women are encouraged to take their, say, 12-year-old girls, you know, for this. And sometimes you want to ask yourself, is it really the way we want to go? Are we mature enough to have this sober conversation to the level at which, you know, In Danger here is saying?
Just as you have rightly put it, Linda, it is a conversation that everyone is very careful with what they say. And at this point, I wouldn't want to dilute what the Gen Z has said. But I would want to emphasize on the fact that MOH have been fully aware about the division of reproductive and maternal health. Are fully aware of this concern. And so one of the things that they are doing is expanding knowledge to cadres who are not allowed then to provide options for our communities.
Okay.
For example, the pharmacists, they were actually not allowed to inject clients.
Okay.
So for these young and adolescent people who come to seek the e-pill every Monday,
right,
the team of pharmacists
after a busy weekend.
After a busy weekend,
okay,
yes, you can say that again.
All right.
They are now trained to be able to provide an option to this weekly pill, which is DMPA subcute and DMPA IM, as opposed to the weekly e-pill.
In layman's language?
Instead of coming to get an e-pill every weekend, there's an option, which is better. The hormone level is low and it serves you for a longer period. You're sure of yourself being protected from pregnancy, because I'm told that's what the Gen Z fear.
Exactly. That's the biggest fear.
Pregnancy.
It's actually pregnancy and marriage.
And not the other concerns.
Not the other concerns.
But as a ministry and as a county, we are not just looking at pregnancy and marriage. We are going a step ahead and supporting them with other information related to sexual and reproductive health.
And I'm glad that you talk about hormonal and all that. Please paint a picture of the non-hormonal IUDs and the hormonal ones. I mean,
and so contraception again can be divided either hormonal, non-hormonal, short-term, long-term. And so
reversible,
another short-term, reversible and non-reversible. So for the, I'll take the short-term, long-term approach. For the short-term methods, we have the stuff around pills, both POPs, the common mwananchi knows it as the pills za kunyonyesha, where the mother uses them up to about 6 months and nothing beyond that, because again the hormone levels keep changing. Then we also have the other set of pills, which is microgynon, a combination of 2 hormones in one pill. That again is taken for a period of 21 days in consecutively past 6 months, when baby is able to be initiated on complementary feeds. Because what that pill does, it reduces the milk production for the mom, and so it is not encouraged in during breastfeeding. The other method is what I've really lauded, the depot, which is commonly known as miezi mitatu. Depot IM, deep intramuscular, and depot subcutaneous. Both depots serve the client for 3 months. After depot, we have the 3-year implants, and now we have 2 again products. We have one rod and the other is 2 rods. Both of them still serve you for 3 years. And then we have another implant again, which is Jadel, and it serves you for 5 years. Now at that point, we move to the IUCDs. Again, we have 2 types. We have the hormonal IUCD, which is kinda a new product which is being introduced. And again, we appreciate the MOH, our partners, and Nairobi County, because they have invested heavily in supporting the healthcare providers with the knowledge and skill to be able to serve our clients. So the hormonal IUD serves the client for 5 years. And then we have the common copper T coil, which serves the client for up to about 10 years. For the long-term methods, again, I want Kenyans to know, the long-term methods serve you for a longer period, but you can be able to come back and it gets withdrawn if you want to get pregnant.
Even if it's not gotten to the level.
Even if it has not completed its expiry time. So if I take up like Jadel for 5 years.
Okay.
And we agree with my partner that I want to deliver after 3 years. You come, we withdraw the method, and you return to
your cycle.
Fertility.
And it's almost immediately?
Yeah.
Yes, the higher the level of hormone in the system, the longer it will take you to get back to the place you started before you took up the method. Return to fertility.
Is there anything you need to do, you know, after the removal? Are there any supplements you're supposed to take? Is there any kind of food you're supposed to eat, or you just wait for it to go back?
You will wait for your system to just adjust back to the state where you were before you started taking up the method.
Okay, and the babies will come out healthy and all that.
Perfect. Because you have just withdrawn a hormone from your system. Remember, these contraceptive methods are the ordinary hormones within our system that a girl child is born with. What we do is increase the levels so that we are taming the body not to behave normally. So if you withdraw the method, it means the body will go back to its normal state. And people behave and react differently to this method. Yes.
You haven't told us much about the BTL and vasectomy, or we've not even touched on that. But now that I talk, we're coming to that. Let's allow the gentleman in the house.
This is why we always... Most conversations always talk about empowering women and girls.
You know, that is what I was asking you people. Why is it that we're empowering girls only? That we're talking about vasectomy today. And now I think I want us to go to that space of the men and whether they have begun to embrace contraceptives, not just for their wives, not just for the women, but themselves. You know, you have had the advantage of getting all this information. At a certain point of life, would you consider vasectomy? And of course, we're not here to discuss you, but you know, perhaps we're using you as an example so that the people out there can understand the in-depth aspect to it, and you know, perhaps wash away the fear that comes along with that.
For me, I think it's not really my choice to decide. It's the way Robina said in the beginning of the conversation, that it's
don't be diplomatic.
I'm not trying to be
but it's all right.
I'm not trying to be diplomatic. But for me, I think it's both our choice, our responsibility to sit down and say, this is what we want to do. I remember there was a case that around a man who went for vasectomy. Then after a few months, I don't know, a few years, the wife was pregnant. So you know, it's a mutual responsibility. We sit down and say, I'm going for this, and this is how we want to. If we decide to change, the way Robina said it again, we change. So I think it's been men have not been taking it up quite well, but with the way the government is now sharing information and also offering opportunities for men to access these services, and at the same time training healthcare providers to provide these services, men are now coming out to access the services. And I think Robina...
I actually have data for Nairobi.
I'm told we are targeting 75% by 2030. How far are we?
For vasectomy and BTL in Nairobi, we are working very closely with Maristops Kenya, who have invested again in training healthcare providers in Nairobi. And like in Nairobi, we have 4 centers who offer free vasectomy and BTL services, and that is Embakasi Health Center, Kahawa West, Mbagathi Referral Hospital, and Makadara. We have service providers who are trained located in these facilities, and so what we do, we pull clients to these respective facilities and we offer them for free. In the last how many months, since June, we've actually served over 140 clients for BTL services. And vasectomy, come to think of it,
could you please tell them what BTL is in full? I think BTL...
Bilateral tubal ligation, where again once a lady decides that they have had enough of the children, they go for this surgical procedure.
Okay.
So they do not expect any more children after a bilateral tubal ligation is done on them.
Okay.
And vasectomy, guess what, Linda? We have served over 50 clients, men, walking to our facilities and undergoing vasectomy.
Kevin here is telling me that is a bit punitive. Is there no lesser way of the men approaching this talk of family planning and because now that would get you to a point where you have said enough is enough? If it is vasectomy for a man?
Yes.
They're saying, is there something that is of less?
Again, we are saying take responsibility of your own health. It is you as a man making a decision on the number of children that you want to have. And supposing that your wife is contraindicated to all these other methods, we don't just give contraception. We do an assessment on you. There are some other underlying conditions that may make you not qualify to take up the hormonal methods.
Okay.
So this is the time for the men to take responsibility and say, because maybe you have these other existing conditions, I am able to take responsibility of my own family and go in for vasectomy.
Now that we're talking about modern,
it does not interfere with the normal
okay, I don't know.
What did you say?
I want to try and check whether the time allows us to say that.
Yes.
But yes, the functioning of a man is not.
It does not. Vasectomy does not affect the functionality of a man.
Okay.
You remain as normal as you were before you went in for the surgical procedure.
We're talking about technology and modern ways of contraception and contraceptives and all that. Somebody else is asking, are there other methods aside from vasectomy for men?
For men?
Yes. or is it work in progress?
Actually, I would say...
gel they hear about and I don't know what.
I would say, despite the fact that most of the methods are for ladies, I would say men are more advantageous. Because we have the simplest and the easiest one that...
God-given, all right?
Not the God-given.
No, I'm asking.
We have the male condom.
Okay.
Which is the easiest to access. And actually, if you look at... most of the time when you're having sessions within the community with the young people, if you give a lady a condom, or a woman, a wife, she will say, if I walk with this condom, and then my husband finds it, it will be war.
Okay.
But if you give the man, they are comfortable taking them.
And your wife finds it?
If the wife finds it, I don't know, I've never actually asked that question, but most of the time, it's taken that men are the ones who are supposed to work with the condoms. And actually the fact that now the availability of male condoms is very high, I would say as men we have a better advantage, because the condom, the way Rubina said it, the condom is more than just for the contraception. It's more than just a contraception. It's also preventing you from getting STIs, including HIV and AIDS. So men, we have a higher advantage than women when it comes to contraception, I would say that.
Okay, and of course adding to the plus is that of course would come along with the uptake of contraceptives on the question of mortality rates, on the question of education. Just how crucial is it in terms of making sure that this conversation of contraceptives is advanced and in a better way?
When we invest in contraception well, it means we are going to address the issue of unwanted pregnancies. And if you are able to handle the unwanted pregnancy issue, because what comes with unwanted pregnancies, what are you looking at? Abortion.
Unsafe abortions.
Unsafe abortions. And when we are experiencing a lot of unsafe abortions in our facilities and even in communities, and we are losing lives as a result of unsafe abortions. No wonder we are again investing heavily in post-abortion care. So if we invest at the root, which is contraception, then we will reduce the number of unwanted pregnancies, which sometimes result into unsafe abortions, therefore leading to, it's a full continuum. So at the point where we interrupt is provision of access to contraception, affordable methods, the skill, knowledge, iwe juu, so that we are able to prevent this unsafe abortion that eventually lead to maternal mortality.
All right.
And just to add to that, you know, in this field, they always say it's good to back everything, information with data. And just looking at the recent data that has been out, the 6.4 million uptake for modern contraception has been, is giving a potential of reducing unsafe abortions up to approximately 602,000.
Nice.
Well, if you look at the aspect of maternal mortality rates, they are being reduced very well. The aspect of unwanted, unintended pregnancies, that's around 2.3 million being reduced. So the modern contraception, the uptake of the modern contraception, it really has a high impact when it comes to the health and exactly and improving the health indicators of women.
Beautiful. I know this conversation cannot get to a close because there's so much to address, but we appreciate the much that we have managed to touch on. As we come to a close, perhaps in a minute, and as you prepare your parting shots as well, just how better can we address the unmet concerns and needs for contraception in the country? Because then we, and perhaps a global stage, we are talking about underserved population. We have I mean, before we began, we were talking about, you know, places like Turkana. How do they get to be, you know, to have the advantage of all this, all said and done?
People trust more the people they know. The primary healthcare approach is a good idea. If we are able to support the CHPs to be able to provide these contraceptions, especially the pills, remember the CBD, the community-based distribution teams. Are we able to support them to be able to increase access kwa ground huko, so that clients don't have to come all the way? We train them in the technical module, technical family planning module 11, very specific to family planning, so that they are able to access services easily. We integrate services in our facilities so that we reduce the turnaround time of moving around in the facility. If a client has come to access services, for example, HIV services, are we able to avail contraceptives at that station, so that the client benefits from HIV services, benefits from contraception, and walks away already having loaded. So integration is one great approach, where my very humble request to colleagues is that we on board all these, provide all these contraceptive services all service points in our facilities, and especially the maternities, where that's a low-lying fruit for our clients to be able to access services. You leave that facility with a healthy baby, you have delivered under-skilled care and loaded with a contraceptive method.
Beautiful. As we close up in 30 seconds.
Yeah, in 30 seconds.
You're parting shot, basically.
It's okay. So in addition to that, I think some of the things that are just being done, let me speak to what is being done right now. There's the aspects of telemedicine right now, where the government, the Ministry of Health, and even civil society organizations are taking advantage of the technology right now and offering telemedicine services and even counseling services. And for example, at our organization, Reproductive Health Network Kenya, we have the Nena Nabiti platform, where any person is able to call or text via WhatsApp, and then you get instant feedback, you get instant help, even instant counseling. So like for us, we have just our number, it's 0800 211 2277, where a client can call anytime they want. They can text on WhatsApp, even on Facebook. You reach out, we respond immediately. And then another thing I've also seen that has been working quite well, and this has been in conjunction with the Ministry of Health.
As you sum it up, yeah?
Yeah, training of healthcare providers and even the community healthcare promoters to offer youth-friendly services, and also just offer the some of the services like the Sayana Press, the one she talked about. So I think that is really helping to reach out up to that person in the rural area who's not able to go to the facility, maybe because of time or maybe the distance.
And I appreciate that you've spoken to the element of innovation and technology. I really wanted us to talk about that. I was worried about time, but at least then that has been captured rather too well. I believe that we are okay, or you want 30 seconds for parting shots?
I wanted to add that the ministry is very specific with the self-care, where again, just in addition to supporting the community pharmacies, we are looking forward to a time when we will be able to support our clients to go home with the methods and self-inject themselves. They actually launched the self-care guidelines the other day. And so all eyes are on this period when we will, this time where we will be able to be giving clients their methods to go and self-inject, like the Turkana guys, where facilities are
very
vast,
far,
are very vast. So you come, we serve you, we counsel you, support you, and give you the method to be able to inject yourself at home.
Beautiful.
You come back after a whole year.
You know, that is beautiful. The conversation is ongoing on our socials, and as we say, time moves, technology moves, and all that, and we must adjust and align for purposes of making sure that we have a healthy nation. We appreciate your contribution this evening, Robina Anene. Thank you so much. Robina Anene is the Reproductive Health Coordinator in Nairobi City County, as well as Innocent Indanger, who's the Adolescents and Youth Coordinator, Reproductive Health Network, right here in the country. Thank you so much for the great insights and the immense feedback from you people. Unfortunately, time would not allow us to go through that, but I hope you have picked a lesson or two. My name is Linda Alela. It was great having you, and I appreciate as well the help of Kelvin Makori, the sign language interpreter of the night, as well as Rhoda Nyamai, who was on while we were doing the news beat. I look forward to seeing you again. Do have yourself a lovely week ahead. Bye-bye. Thank you.